Multiple WWE stars released, Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania 40 anger, major CM Punk plans leaked, and my review of Monday Night Raw. That's right, it's a superstar shake-up. I'm going to be reviewing Raw here and on the podcast from now on, and Luke and Tempest will be covering AEW on Thursdays. Being introduced as the new main host of a show at the start of September 2024, just call me Ollie Tessitore, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Two WWE wrestlers have been removed from the official roster page. First is Trish Stratus, who returned to WWE's active roster in 2023 during a storyline with Becky Lynch. She has now been moved from the active roster to WWE's Hall of Fame page almost a year since her last in-ring match at Payback 2023. This also happened recently to Beth Phoenix when her WWE contract expired, who is speculated to join her husband Adam Edge Copeland in AEW. But while Trish's removal makes sense, the other name is far more mysterious. Odyssey Jones. If this was a few months ago, Jones's removal sadly may have been expected, as he was called up from NXT in May 2023 to never actually be seen on the main roster. A similar situation happened with Dijak this year, where he was released soon after. But then Jones kicked out at 2 and finally made his Raw debut last month when Kofi Kingston brought him into the New Day, much to the chagrin of Xavier Woods. This seemed to be building to a New Day split and Woods' heel turn, but after missing Raw last week, Jones was completely removed from the official WWE roster page. Unlike Trish's profile, he hasn't been moved to the alumni page, he's been removed from the entire site. Sean Ross Sapp has reported talent have been surprised by him being off the roster page, and the Wrestling Observer have added they're relatively certain he's done, and that they've heard a lot of rumours around why, which they expect to come out soon. In addition to those talent releases, the Wrestling Observer have also reported WWE's Director of Production Travel, Michelle Carlucci, has been let go by the company last Friday after being with WWE since 2019. Talking of backstage unease, remember the build to WrestleMania 40? Which always went 100% completely to plan. The originally reported plan was for The Rock to take Cody's Mania main event spot to face Roman Reigns, but the fans hated it so much, WWE wisely course-corrected to Rock joining the Bloodline as a heel. Now, with Rhodes almost 150 days deep into his WWE title reign, he has hinted to what the original plan was for him, to inside the ropes. If people knew the real plan for me, they'd be even more angry. While Cody didn't specify, the Wrestling Observer reported back in late February that WWE planned to write Cody off from WrestleMania 40 with a kayfabe injury, allowing Rock to face Reigns in the main event and potentially even win the belt. CM Punk's Mania plans also had to be changed when he suffered a legit injury at the Royal Rumble, but on the anniversary of his WWE return, he'll reportedly be getting a push to the top of the Raw title picture. After beating Drew McIntyre at Bash in Berlin, CM Punk called out Gunther for a World Heavyweight title shot on Raw. But Drew wasn't finished with him, attacked Punk, meaning they'll likely have a third rubber match in their feud. According to PW Insider, this could be because internal discussions have taken place that Punk will face Gunther at Survivor Series on the 30th of November. Now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw in about 5 minutes. Do not adjust your set when you see Wade Barrett. This is neither Friday Night SmackDown or ESPN's Top Rank Boxing. Wade was in the ring as a cold open introduction to the new school year of WWE programming. He and new lead play-by-play commentator Joe Tessitore will be announcing Raw, with Michael Cole and Corey Graves on SmackDown as it moves to the USA Network. Pat McAfee, meanwhile, has returned to his home planet. I thought Tessitore did a great job on his first night. He's definitely more Mauro Ranallo than Adnan Virk, adding even more to producer Lee-fitting sports-leaning broadcast style. Damn, Joe, your voice is so deep, WWE could bury the entire Judgment Day in it. But they decided to do that in the ring instead. After beating Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio at Bash in Berlin, Rhea Ripley cut an in-ring promo about how it was her who pinned the Women's World Champion. Dom came out instead of Liv and said the reason they lost was because they didn't get any sleep the night before because of jet lag, and also sex. Liv jumped Rhea from behind, doing a mini injury angle by attacking her left ankle, hung up on the bottom rope, and Damian Priest made the save. This started the show-long storyline of Rhea being treated backstage, while Priest was trying to find a tag partner to join him against Judgment Day's Finn Balor and JD McDonough in the main event. After an abusive pep talk from Chad Gable, American Made beat American Alpha in a fun 6-person intergender tag, while Maxine slapped Chad off the apron, leading to her getting choked out in Ivy Niles' Dragon Sleeper for the finish. Afterwards, Gable challenged the Wyatt Six to a hardcore 8-person tag next week, heelishly accusing outside interference as to why he lost against Bo Dallas on the last episode. Chad is such a good heel, in fact, he got the US crowd booing his version of the US. Uncle Howdy came out with the Wyatt Six to accept. The Pure Fusion Collective, oh God, it's such a terrible name, used the numbers advantage to beat Zelina Vega next, where Shayna Baszler pinned Vega after just a kick to the gut as she was re-entering the ring. They continued the beatdown of her and Lia Valkyria afterwards, and Sonya Deville cut a promo about how no one can stand up to them. Backstage later on, Lyra and Vega resolved to find a tag partner to even the odds. CM Punk said that now he's beaten Drew McIntyre definitively, he's moving on to the proper business, going for Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship. At least I think that's what he said. I was, too busy, being distracted by the math greater than pipe bomb sign in the crowd. Goddamn Marks. But just when Punk thought he was out, Drew pulled him back in, attacking him with multiple claymores and snapping the bracelet in two, which isn't just a great escalation of that MacGuffin, it also means we no longer have to have 80 shots of it a match on someone's wrist. This was the most effective angle on the show, with Wade trying to talk sense into Drew, Punk getting stretchered out, and McIntyre attacking him again by the ambulance, busting open his mouth. With the reports that Gunther vs Punk is in the works for Survivor Series, the heavy speculation is on Punk vs McIntyre at Bad Blood in Hell in a Cell, which means one of them is going to hell. That's an inside joke there for the Patreons. Go listen to our Breakup of the Shield series over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Dominic Mysterio was chased off by Priest in the third 3-way qualifier for the Fatal 4-Way #1 contenders match for the IC title, Whack-Bat, leaving just Dragon Lee versus Dragon Nov in a battle of the guys who have dragon names. This was really entertaining stuff, with Ilya winning with a Torpedo Moscow off the ropes, who then raised Lee's arm in respect. The fourth and final 3-way qualifier for the Fatal 4-Way #1 contenders match for the IC title, Whack-Bat, however, needed to replace Bronson Reed, who had been attacked backstage by COVID. Instead, despite being tsunamied through a car last week, Braun Strowman took his place. He did a good job selling his midsection, and thanks to Pete Dunne knocking out Sheamus with a shillelagh, Braun the replacement pinned Ludwig Kaiser to advance, presumably setting up the next chapter in the Bronson vs Braun feud, as Reed will feel Strowman stole his place. Dunne gave Jackie Redmond a message for Sheamus backstage afterwards, which Jackie asked if she should say was from Butch. Lady, what the hell? He clearly doesn't like being called that. The new women's tag team champions Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill had too good a seats at ringside for the #1 contenders match between the Unholy Union and Damage Control. Zyla Dawn pulled Belair in the way of the Kairi Sane dive outside that not only wiped out Bianca, but also horribly busted open Kairi's face. She reportedly received stitches after the show. This allowed Unholy Union to get the win, but the real feud seems to be between Belair, Jade and Damage Control, who all got in each other's faces afterwards, busted though they might be. In the second best angle of the show, we got the likely next challenger for Gunther's World Heavyweight title, Sami Zayn. Sami interrupted Gunther's Win in Berlin celebration promo to talk about the prestige of the Intercontinental title, how the best champions like Macho Man, Stone Cold, Bret Hart, even Gunther have used that belt as a stepping stone to win a world title. So he is coming for Gunther's belt. And Gunther replied with 9. But as Gunther arrogantly walked away, Sami brought up the perfect reason for them to have a match. In Gunther's entire WWE run, Zayn is the only person to have beaten him, meaning he is due a shot at the world title. Rhea eventually got Jey Uso as Damian's tag partner for the main event, where Jey told Priest he knows exactly how he feels. He too was betrayed by his own family. It's small but really significant character insights like this that really elevated WWE stories. Another driver is how most wrestlers have multiple quests at the same time. Jey is flirting with Rhea, flirty quest. Now he's helping with Damian, friendship quest. He's got the whole bloodline thing looming over him, family quest. But he's also going for a championship title quest. Bron Breakker interrupted Jay's interview to give him one chance to step out of the IC Fatal 4-Way match, to go focus on Dom's sloppy seconds instead. But this only fired up Jay, saying he's going to win the title and beat his ass. But before then, he's going to beat Judgment Day's ass easily instead. Because despite Finn Balor and JD McDonough being the tag team champions, and Priest and Jay not being an established tag act, and Liv interfering to help the Judgment Day, and Rhea's ankle being injured earlier in the night, and Priest and Ripley beating Liv and Dom at Bash in Berlin 2 days prior, Judgment Day lost again. The main event was fun, the Terror triplets look super strong, and I expect this to build to a 6-person intergender tag now of Rhea, Damien and Jay versus Liv, Finn and JD. But I'm struggling to fully invest because of how weak Judgment Day have been booked. This week's Raw is 70% Beetlejuice. 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 There, I've said it. Now you have to go watch Luke and Dan run down the biggest movie releases in September by clicking the video on the left.